hey, welcome to Thugging It Out. Thugging It Out is a platform where we create a safe space to acknowledge, experience, and overcome real life issues in a positive and healthy way. Before we get into today's episode, I have two things that I need you guys to do. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at underscore thugging it out underscore. And also, I am planning a mother's panel. So if you know any moms or if you are a mom and you're interested in participating in a live interactive episode where we speak on motherhood, we speak about the highs, the lows, everything in between in the gray area. It is going to be, I'm going to say a breathtaking conversation because it's going to be real raw. And it's just going to feel good to have some sort of community where even though we all might be in different spaces, but we all can relate. So if you know any moms or if you're a mom, please hit me up on Instagram or any other platform you might follow me on. So make sure y'all, hit me up. It's in the works and I have spots available and I really want to get different types of moms in different places to really, enhance that conversation. So that's that. So let's get into this episode. So today I want to start part 2 of the perfecting the process. In this series, I want to focus on forgiveness. And yes, forgiveness. Forgiveness is the most hardest and easiest thing to do. It's hard to forgive when people have wronged us, but easy when we learn that forgiveness is the only way to move on. Like, I'm going to say it again, it's really hard to forgive people, especially when you have a relationship with them or you just really have them on some type of pedestal or in your head, you think of them a certain way. So when they do you wrong or they hurt you in a way, it's very hard to accept it and it's very hard to forgive them. But forgiveness is something that we all have to work on. And I'm going to say with practice, it gets easier. And it gets easier when you realize that the only way you can truly heal and move on from something is if you truly forgive that person. And I know a lot of us might hate the saying that we have to forgive people for us, but it simply is true. Like, whoever came up with that saying that you have to forgive someone for you, they were spot on, because we might think that when we forgive people, we're only, condoning their behavior or we're not acknowledging our true feelings or even that we're getting them off the hook. No. When we actually forgive people, we're forgiving them for ourselves. We're releasing that burden from us and we're putting it back onto them. And when we forgive, we reclaim our power and it really leads to peace. Now, y'all all know that I am all about peace. I feel like in this era, I'm not even going to say era, in this space that I am in, like at 29, I claim that nothing is more important than my peace. And sadly, that involves people as well. Nothing is more important than my peace. And I will get my peace however I need to get my peace. And I will forgive someone for anything because I know as long as I hold that anger towards someone, as long as I hold on to that hurt, that I will never be at peace. And once you get a taste of peace, it's easy to do a lot of things. And let's just keep it a buck. Throughout life, people will disappoint us. They will leave us, they will hurt us, they will lie on us, and downright wrong us. It's just a part of life. Like, when we think about life, I don't know if you know this or not, but it will never ever be peaches and cream. Like, everybody in their life, and it's so sad to say because I even look at my kids. Kids can be so innocent and you want the best for them, but the reality is that that throughout their lives and the world we live in, that somebody would eventually hurt them. Me as a parent might hurt them. People around them, family, friends, or just this crazy world around us might eventually hurt our kids. And now that I know better, and now I'm older, I realize that the only way that we combat the bad things and the hardship that comes along with life is really learning how to forgive. Because forgiveness is something that we all have to do. It's going to be something that we consistently do throughout life. And for us to perfect the process, we must truly master forgiveness. Forgiveness frees us from the hurt and puts the burden back on the person who wronged us. And yes, it takes you take your power back. Because let's be real, when somebody hurts you, they make you vulnerable. When somebody, lie on you or does anything wrong to you in a way, it kind of makes you feel small, regardless of what it is. It could be someone speaking down on you. It could be someone lying on you. It could be a situation where somebody physically hurt you or emotionally hurt you or mentally hurt you. However, in order to get over it, because it's life. Sometimes people will make us feel small. Some situations will make us feel small. In order to get back right, we simply have to forgive. And by forgiving them, we are releasing that burden from us and putting it back on that person. Because when people hurt you, it's not you. It's never you. I'm learning that. And I know it might sound so cliche, but hurt people hurt people. So when people hurt you, it might not have nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. And once you recognize that, you can see in every situation, like somebody could just snap on you or curse you out, or somebody could try to lie on you. They could do anything. You can be like, you know what? I'm not going to even take that person. That's really that person. That's that person's problem. That's that person's hurt. I'm going to let them keep that hurt, and I'm going to forgive them, and I'm going to move on. And personally, I've been doing a tango with forgiveness. Like, it's extremely hard to see who people really are and to get past when people are moving funny. It really takes a high level of maturity to forgive folks after any foul behavior. Now, I'm not sitting there saying that, forgiveness. Don't ever get me wrong, that I'm trying to, make it seem like anybody can forgive and that you should just do it. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. The only people that can really forgive are people that are really emotionally mature. And you might be listening to this and you be like, I'm not there yet. And that's fine. But in order for you to really perfect the process and really get through life, you will have to mature and you will have to learn how to forgive. It's just a part of the process. But let me just keep it a buck with you. Let me give you some tools. It gets easier when you first recognize that you have no control over people's behavior. Like, forgiveness comes easy when you learn that you cannot control nothing and nobody does. And that includes family, that includes kids, that includes friends, that includes jobs. It includes everybody in this world. The only thing that you can control is yourself. That's the only thing you can control. You cannot control your child, even though you're their parent. You cannot control your spouse, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your baby mama, your baby daddy. You can't control them folks. You could try all you want, but you cannot control no other human being. You can't control family, and you damn sure cannot control your friends. So once you really learn, like, you know what? I can only control me. And controlling you includes not taking things personal and learning how to forgive and learning how to respond. Because I'm trying to tell you, life has its way of showing you the areas that you need to work on. Life will really put you in a spot where you have to really look yourself in the mirror and be like, you know what? that is an area that I need to grow in. And this is how God, in a way, is trying to tell me, like, girl, get in the gym. You really need to work on your forgiveness. You need to really work on your self-care. You really need to learn on, your self-control. All of that all works together. And that's why the first way that you could really master forgiveness is just learning and accepting that you have no control over anybody else. Secondly, understand that you can never get a you from anyone else. Like, this is something that I struggle with for so long. Like, even now, I've been in therapy for about 2 years now. And sometimes I still find myself getting caught up in the theory of expecting me from other people. So what my therapist always say is, you cannot expect a you from anybody else. You are uniquely you, and regardless of, not saying that it's no good people out here, but everybody don't think the same, everybody don't have the same morals, everybody don't have the same values. So how you move is not particularly how somebody else will move. And just what you feel is right is not necessarily what other people feel is right. So when you really just accept that you will never, ever get a you from you, and you will never get a you from your own kids, and you damn sure will not get a you from your spouse, your other half. Let's just keep it a buck. How you move, how you think, how you decide that you want to respond to certain situations, how you want to get through certain things, that's not the same for the next person. So once you understand that you can never get you from them, life will get easier and forgiveness will come like second nature. Lastly, know that people wrongdoing has nothing to do with you, and it's just simply a reflection of them. I said this earlier. When people wrong us and people lie on us and people move funny, it is just a representation of them. Just like when you move funny or you hurt people, because it's a double-edged sword. Just as other people will hurt us, we will hurt other people. Just like we will do stuff wrong and we will do something foul, at some point in our life, it will happen to us. So once you recognize that how that person is treating you, how that person is talking to you, how that person is moving is just a reflection of them, it becomes easier to forgive them, because it's like, you know what? They still got some working to do. They still got a lot of kinks to iron out. They got a lot of growing to do. So who am I to try to hold them to this standard when they ain't even able to get to level 1? So once you recognize that, you just start forgiving people for anything. Like, I'm really in a space where I'm not holding no grudges. Like, I've been saying this for some while now, but holding grudges and really being just angry and upset with people and holding on to hurt, that has no room in my life. And I'm trying to tell you, it really makes a hell of a difference. It makes a difference in how you just look at life. It makes a difference in your day-to-day. It just makes a difference. And for forgiveness and learning how to truly forgive people for any and everything has really helped me. When you release yourself from taking any and every situation personal, you are able to maneuver in life where you don't sweat the small things and the big things fall off you as nothing ever happened. Like, that's just really what it is. Mastering forgiveness clears your conscience and frees your mind and your spirit from holding on to the pain that could lead to depression. Because if you did not know, depression uses your memories against you. And forgiveness almost purges the painful memories out so that you can be healthier mentally. Like, I know a lot of people, in today's society, I know a lot of people are more open. But in general, a lot of people don't know when they're depressed, or even if they are depressed, they don't necessarily know that they're depressed, and they have a hard time accepting it. And some people don't even really know what depression is, but depression is really it's just a fog that you could get in. And sometimes depression is triggered by our own minds. And it's because sometimes as humans, we kind of hold on to that hurt because we don't necessarily want to look at it in space, and we're not necessarily ready to forgive. And that, in a way, can really harm us, because depression, I'm trying to tell you, it's people out here that can die from depression. Depression is serious. I went through postpartum depression, and right after I moved to Memphis, I felt like that whole adjustment from me being out and about all the time to me being alone and not necessarily having friends and family so close, and from being single as a dollar bill to being in a relationship, as well as a long distance relationship, and also me being pregnant and not necessarily physically and mentally prepared to deal with all the changes of pregnancy. I really went through a depression period where I was just hurting in a way. Trying to tell you all my freedom that I felt like I lost, and just my life before, comparing my life to what it was at that moment. I was in a deep depression, y'all. And I can tell you from experience that it's not a good thing. It don't feel good. It's really hard to kind of manage. But the best way to get it is through forgiving others. Like, you got to forgive people. But also you got to really forgive yourself. Like, that plays a big part in it as well. I mean, forgiving other people is hard. But when it really comes down to looking in that mirror and kind of accepting what you did and how you moved and the choices you made, that's a totally different demon. And it's harder because sometimes we hold ourselves to unrealistic expectations and unrealistic standards. Like, we feel that, sometimes we're judgmental about ourselves. We're, hard on ourselves. And sometimes we can't really get over our own mistakes, our past feelings. And it gets to the point where we're just going through the motions. It gets to the point where we're just starting to hate ourselves. We're not able to really accept that we are human. We messed up. That, just because we did what we did or we were in that spot don't necessarily mean that we have to stay there. And when we're, by ourselves, it's kind of hard to be like, I really need to forgive myself. Okay, transparent moment. I feel like I've been real transparent in this episode, but let's be even more transparent. Lately, I've been really on some type of, I've been telling y'all, I've been on this kind of self-discovery period where I kind of really just been kind of doing a deep dive inside myself. Like I said last week, you got to learn yourself. Know who you are so when other people can't tell you anything. And as I've been on this journey, I kind of been reflecting on my parenting. And sadly, I feel as if my oldest, Jamal, has not gotten the same mother that Riley and my new son is getting. It's like Riley and Ryan. I feel like Riley and Ryan are getting the best version of me, while I feel bad about the type of mother I was to Jamal. And do not get me wrong, I don't think that I was a bad mom, because I never was. I always put my son first. I always, tried my best. However, my decisions, I feel like, in a way, kind of hurt my son and put my son into a bad advantage. For one, I had Jamal when I was 17 years old. 2, his dad is not in his life and will probably never be in his life, because probably until he's an adult. Like, they speak, but it's not going to be that father-son relationship that my other kids have. And lastly, I feel as if while I was growing up, because that's what happens when, it's normal to do when we're younger, when we have kids young, is that we grow up with our kids. And I know a lot of people glorify it because it's like, yes, I can see the growth which is good, but it's unfair to the child to really not have a happy whole parent that they deserve. And sometimes I really get down on myself. I really do, because I just feel bad about the fact that my oldest, he didn't really get to experience the type of parenting that my younger kids have, and I just feel bad. Get me wrong, my son, don't get me wrong, my son is perfectly fine. Like, if you talk to my oldest, he loves me. He has no problem with his childhood. I'm pretty sure he has some daddy issues, but that's out of my control. But in general, I know he's content with his childhood, because I did the best that I could. However, personally, I hold myself to the fire. Like, I really be down on myself to the point where I'm just like, Kenya, like, it's so unfair to him. Like, I feel his pain, and I get even more down on myself. And it's like, bro, like, how can, and it's crazy because it's like, he don't feel pain. Like, I made it up in my head. I'm getting down on myself over something small, something that really don't exist. And it's to the point where I'm even recognizing, like, Kenya, you got to forgive yourself. Like, you really do have to forgive yourself, because even my therapist, we had like a whole session where she was just saying, she had to like give me affirmation, like, you're a good mom, like, to all your kids. Like, you really go hard for your kids. Like, you really are a good mom. And it's this journey that I'm on, back to the episode, where I'm really learning how to forgive myself. Like, I'm really working on trying to understand that it happens, and I can no longer hold myself to this unrealistic standard based off of some unrealistic reality, when the truth is that I did the best that I can. Was it perfect? No, but also it gives me the type of, I get a little reassurance when I recognize that God had his hand in it, and this is all divinely made. Like, I have to sometimes really speak like life into myself, like, Kenya, you have to, let it go, forgive yourself, because Jamal probably didn't get this version of you then, but now he's getting it when he needs it the most. And that's what really helps me master forgiveness with myself. And that's why I'm stressing to you all that we have to forgive ourselves. Like, we all had some points in our lives that were kind of, dark. We had made some questionable decisions, and we all been in situations where we know we shouldn't have been in. We made decisions that probably altered our life and probably made us suffer the consequences. But that's a part of life. And the only way to really heal from it and to move forward from it is to forgive yourself. Like, things happen. And also, it becomes easier to forgive when you recognize that you had to go through it. And I'm just going, this is the bottom line. You have to go through what you went through to get to where you're going. I'm going to say it again. You had to go through what you went through to get through what you went through to eventually help you get to where you're going. It was necessary. The hurt, the pain, everything, it was necessary. It was part of the process. You had to go through it because you had to grow from it to get to where you're going. I'm going to say it one more time. You had to do it, and you had to go through it to learn how to heal from it in order for it to help you to get you to where you're going. That's why forgiveness is necessary. Because if we don't forgive, we get stuck in a place that was only meant for a second. Sometimes by our own doing, we could get stuck in one spot for years when we only supposed to been there for a day. And I'm telling y'all, life is too short. We see it every day. If y'all have not seen how life is short, you need to go turn on the news. Turn on social media, have you get your information, and know that life is too short for you to be stuck. So in order to free yourself, in order for you to regain your peace, no, in order for you to regain your power and to gain peace, is to by learning how to forgive. Forgiveness is necessary. The hurt was necessary. The pain was necessary. All of it ties in together to help you get to where you're supposed to be. And that's why forgiveness is the second part of perfecting the process. And that brings us to the end of yet another episode. Remember to be grateful, be blessed, be thankful, but most importantly, keep thugging it out. Peace.